And time for a sports roundup. Father Matt Frisbee joining us live. I think it's incredible, Father Matt, that for the very first time, the winner, the out-and-out winner of the women's Final Four will be playing the winner of the men's Final Four this year. I think it's a great experiment. What do you think?
Good morning, Father.
That would not be pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the women would shut them down, wouldn't they?
We're going to agree to disagree on that. No, it is that time of year, though, and especially on the men's side, we've got our Final Four set. 2 teams from the SEC, Florida and Auburn. We did not get 3 or 4 teams from the SEC, which is good. I believe the only time a conference has had 3 or more teams in the Final Four goes back to the 80s, I think 1985, when the Big East, the original Big East, had Georgetown and St. John's and Villanova.
Oh, wow.
Interestingly enough, all Catholic schools in the Final Four. But not so this year. And on the other side of the bracket, we have Duke and Houston. And Duke looks pretty good.
Yeah, I would say I haven't watched much, but I've finally gotten to watch a few games as we came into the Final Four, the Elite 8 games. And Duke looked fantastic. I mean, against a strong, what was supposed to be, one of the best SEC teams, Alabama, and spanked them pretty good.
Yes, they did. Problem for Alabama, that game before against, was it BYU, I think,
where
they made 25 threes. And they scored 110 points, I think, in that game, and I think 93 of their points came from either threes or foul shots. But you live by the 3, you die by the 3.
Right.
And Alabama struggled to make threes against Duke, and Duke won pretty easily, really.
Well, who are you thinking? Do you have a favorite among the Duke, Houston, Florida, and Auburn?
Well, before the tournament began, I picked Florida.
Oh, wow.
And Florida has basically eked out all of their wins except the first round. Otherwise, in this last game against Texas Tech, they were down late in the game, found a way to come back and win. But with the way Duke's playing, and it pains me to say this because I have never liked Duke, but I think Duke is going to win the tournament.
Well, and look, you might not like Duke, but you have to like them better than the SEC. So it's like, if I had to pick, I mean, look, Auburn put out the last 2 Big Ten teams, one after the other, Michigan and Michigan State, both in pretty handy style.
Indeed, that's true. It's tough because I'd just say this. In basketball, the SEC has a different flavor than it does in football. In football, certainly I'd root against the SEC. But now we're in college basketball. I like to root against Duke.
There you go.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's not pulling for anybody. It's pulling against people at this point, and I'm the same way. Like, I don't have a favorite team in here, but I have ones that I like least.
Yeah, that's right. And Duke's at the top of that list.
So what else is...
With that then, too.
What? Go ahead.
Say again?
No,
I was going to say, we talk basketball, but we should talk baseball.
Yeah.
Because, we've had opening day last week. The Guardians, won their first series in Kansas City. They lost last night out in San Diego, so they're tied with Kansas City and the surprise Chicago White Sox, all 2-2 atop the AL Central. The Tigers had a rough first series out in Los Angeles against the Dodgers, went 0-3. They won last night. And the Twins are 0-4, the bottom of the AL Central. So, that's a little bit there. But the big talk of baseball really right now is with the Yankees and this use of what are being called torpedo bats, where they move like the bulk of the wood to a different spot in the bat, and it has caused a lot of offense. The Yankees scored a ton of runs their first series against the Brewers, and I even saw last night for the Reds, their superstar, Ellie De La Cruz, he used a torpedo bat, had 2 homers, a single and a double, and 7 RBIs. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly this is adopted and how many teams adopt it, because in an age where pitching really has kind of ruled the last couple of years, any advantage the offense can get, batters can get, I'm sure they're going to take advantage of.
But how can they change their bats without like MLB approval?
Well, here's the thing. So there's a limit on length and width of the bat. And the bats have, they're within those limits. It's just really where they've moved the majority of the wood. So instead of it being out towards the barrel, it's kind of shaped like a bowling pin, or a torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all within the legal confines.
That's interesting, and I understand they're trying out new supersized mitts too that give them an extra 3 foot of reach.
That's right.
The entire field is covered.
Whatever we can do, boys.
Yeah. Well, look, and if it's within the rules, how are you going to complain? But they could still disallow it, I guess, but it'd be hard since it's within the regs. And this was a carefully studied thing. I mean, somebody didn't just come out with it, start swinging it, and see what the result was. They looked at it from a scientific point of view, and it's been working.
Exactly. Yeah, Yankees had someone from MIT really kind of look into this, and I'll say I'm conflicted because, again, going back to teams I strongly dislike the Yankees. So there's a part of me that doesn't like it because the Yankees are benefiting from it. But the other side, I'll say, I think back to the 90s and early 2000s. We had a lot of offense in baseball. Now, that came from players using steroids, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not good. But baseball was a lot of fun back then, too.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to see home runs, offense, runs being scored, all that kind of stuff. So there's a part of me that says, you know what, if this brings back a little more offense and isn't just dominated by pitchers, I'm for it.
And you have to think the league is probably going to be reticent to remove it because there were a lot more people watching during those years when there was a lot of scoring going on.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, baseball was just a lot of fun back then, too. Now, I'd say that it's easy for me to say the Indians were really good back then, too. But nevertheless, you could watch games, and it was just a lot of fun back then. So I think the torpedo bats are probably here to stay.
Yeah, and they're probably, every team is probably trying to duplicate those right now, even as we speak.
Oh, yeah, you got that right.
Father Matt Frisbee, always a pleasure. Happy April 1st, and have a great day.
God bless.